Hello wonderful person, this is Anton, and in this video we're going to be talking about a new discovery of a new type of a galaxy that actually was named after its own discoverer. And it just so happens that this particular galaxy is like nothing we've seen before and makes no sense. Anyway, let's talk about this and welcome to What the Math. So the galaxy you're looking at right now is actually one of the most rare types of galaxies out there, and this is known as the Hogs Object. I've talked about this previously, you can check out the video on the channel, but the kind of a short summary of all of this is that this particular galaxy is structured in such a way that it kind of makes no sense to us, and we don't really know how it's formed. It has a very interesting spherical part in the middle, basically almost a perfect circle, and it has a ring around it, and then there's almost nothing in between, very little in between, that is. Now that's Hogs Object. Today we're talking about a very similar object that was discovered only in 2017 by a person, specifically this person right here. This is a scientist by the name of Burcin, and I'm super sorry if I butchered your name just now, because I'm sure I did. If you're Turkish, you can correct me in the comments below. But anyway, so this person right here discovered this in, I believe, December of 2017 while doing her PhD. And that's the galaxy we're talking about. And this currently is basically known as Burcin's galaxy. The galaxy literally got named after her. And having an object named after you while you're actually still alive is, well, it's kind of rare. Although it's not really official, it's not an official name. Officially, this object is known as LIDA 10714, and essentially, in a nutshell, it's a new type of a galaxy that is different from everything else we've seen so far, and we haven't really been able to explain how it formed and how it acquired this particular shape. So let me briefly talk about why this particular galaxy is so unusual. And I'm going to use Hogs Object to kind of give you a comparison. And actually, let's go to our Milky Way first, so I can show you what a lot of other galaxies in our universe look like. So this is a typical spiral galaxy, and essentially you expect it to have a center and spiraling arms, and some of them also have a bar-like structure in the middle. That's a little bit difficult to see here, but it is there for the Milky Way. Also, another very common type of a galaxy is this right here, and this is an elliptical galaxy that basically doesn't really have any defined shape other than it's elliptical from essentially every side. It's a big oval-like object. And this is the biggest galaxy we've discovered ever, IC 1101. And then we have this, Hogs Object. Now, this kind of looks like a ring galaxy, and this kind of looks like maybe some galaxies out there, but it has such a strange structure that we just couldn't really explain it with any known galactic formation theory. So we have this center here, and then we have this much younger ring around it that seems to be maybe only a few 100 million years old. And none of this really makes sense, other than maybe there was some sort of a collision between galaxies that caused this, but there's really no indication of anything like that happening. And then we have this new galaxy known as Burcin's galaxy that also, just like Hogs Galaxy, has another mystery of yet another ring right here in between the larger ring and the center. So basically it's like a double ring galaxy. And although it's kind of difficult to see, but it is there. It's basically this relatively large structure that's actually away from both the larger, brighter ring and the center itself that's somewhere over there. And interestingly, there's actually not just the size and the brightness difference, there's also age difference. So the outer ring here is relatively young. It's maybe just like 100 million years old or so, meaning that it's a lot of new stars, it's a lot of really bright blue stars. A lot of new formation is happening right here on the outskirts of this galaxy. Similarly, how it's happening here around Hogs Object. And then we have the center, of course, that's the oldest part of this galaxy, and let's actually go inside to see what it looks like in Space Engine, just so we can dive through some of these stars to give ourselves a bit of a perspective on what it may look like from the inside. So this is kind of what it may look like if you're inside of this unusual center of this Hogs Object. And lastly, we have this other ring that Hogs Object doesn't actually have, but this particular galaxy, Burcin's galaxy, does have. And this is actually these ancient stars that are forming or have formed billions and billions of years ago and create this very, very large, very massive ring around the galaxy's center. And to give you a different perspective, this is actually what the center of this galaxy looks like. And so the second ring is invisible, but it's right here around the center. And in terms of the age difference, it's possibly about 5.5 billion years, basically the age of our own solar system, whereas this is only 100 or maybe 130 million years old, and the center is possibly 10 or over 10 billion years old. So it's very unusual, it's very strange, but it seems that this is the oldest part. Then there is this other part that's not as old, but still relatively young in comparison to the center. And then this is the youngest part. And that suggests that there were 3 different stages of creation of the stars. And unfortunately, we cannot possibly explain any of it. We cannot explain how the center was formed and why it's so perfectly circular. We cannot explain the outer ring with its very bright, very, very active new stars. Neither can we explain the second ring that's in the middle, that was formed about 5.5 billion years ago. And so this is why this is actually not just a rare discovery, but it's a new mystery of the universe. And unfortunately, as of today, we cannot explain any of it. And what's interesting is that Hogs Object forms a very rare type of a galaxy known as a ring galaxy, and there's only about 0.1% of these. So for every 1,000 galaxies we discover, maybe one might be like this. And the new type of a galaxy we just discovered, Burcin's galaxy, is the only one we've discovered of all of these objects. So it's possible that it's a completely new type with a completely new formation history and a completely new mechanism at work. And hopefully in the next few years we'll discover a little bit more about this particular galaxy, but for now that's kind of all we know, really. I mean, it's a huge mystery. It's definitely not something we can easily explain. And the only explanation so far that was kind of proposed was that maybe there was some sort of a collision between galaxies that somehow managed to create these different ring formations, then somehow by accident it turned to be perfectly circular. I don't really buy it just yet, unless someone provides a good simulation that explains it, but for now we can only speculate how all of this was formed. I'm going to definitely keep my eye on this particular discovery because it's something unusual, interesting, and possibly will help us explain the universe a little bit better. For now though, that's all I wanted to show in this video. Thank you for watching. Check out the TED Talk video in the description below, and in the next few years we'll maybe make a follow-up video and try to explain all of this in a little bit more detail. Subscribe if you still haven't, share this video with someone who loves learning about space, and maybe even support this channel on Patreon because it does help me a lot. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Space out, and as always, bye bye.